Welcome to Misunderstood, yet another episode. I hope you've been keeping well. I hope you've been learning the lessons that you need to learn, and I hope that you can share them with us so that we can also learn from you and have a lovely conversation together. If you're new here, welcome to Misunderstood. It's a loving community of intentional and purpose-driven conversations. So we like to have meaningful conversations here that will impact you in one way or another, change the way you think, challenge your reality, and better you for the future. My name is Nyawira, and I created this platform so that we could have conversations and give understanding to certain areas or situations or awkward things that people don't like talking about, and just give them some understanding. I am excited today because today's episode is like a part B from the episode we did on boundaries, and I'm so excited because I've never done a two-part video, but this part of the video is actually not a two-part, but it's been given meaning because of the boundary conversation. If you haven't watched the boundary conversation, please just go watch. Yeah, it was a nice episode. I liked it also, so please just go watch it. It'll excite you. This episode is about values. Do you have a value system? Do you find yourself valuable? Do you give valuable or valid solutions to people and feel every time like, now what are these for if nobody ever takes them seriously? This conversation is important because more than likely, people don't receive your values or don't receive what you give them because you don't receive them for yourself first. And so today we're addressing you, not what you give people, no, but me as the individual. Values are so important. Values are like when you walk into a bank, for example, because I've seen this over and over again. When I walk into the bank, the first thing I'll see on this side is our core values. I'll see their quality assurance. I'll see all those things. But why the core values are important is because when you enter, core values particularly give guidance to what you should expect there. And that's such a powerful statement just right there, because values, as we know them, give people an understanding of who you are, because you are what you value. And let me tell you, I feel like those motivational speakers that go to high school, because that's exactly what they said every time when they came to school. But only later in life do these words come back and you find so much meaning in them. When I realized that I have a problem with my value system was that in different spaces, people didn't understand me the same way. That was a huge red flag for me, because I realized that my value system, my core values, if I was the bank, my core values are not clear on the wall, or they don't see it when they meet me. Coming up with a value system is so much work, but it's so simple when we understand a few steps. So in this video, I'm going to need you to be very reflective. Feel free to pause, write, think, pause. These are those videos for watching and finishing. This is the videos for let's analyze it together. So I'm going to pick up my notebook real quick so that I can also write them down as we go. I feel like such a teacher, but I'm just so excited about it, because let me tell you why I'm excited about this conversation. Is I feel like many of us, myself included, when we unlock the understanding of our values, there are things that you will not compromise on, and there are things that will be so clear for you when you come up with your boundaries, when you come up with where you want to be, with understanding your purpose, with finding what your impact spot is in society. Values are crucial. So values. So the first thing when you're creating your value system is you must ask yourself, what is of importance to you? That sounds like such a simple question, but why that's a very difficult question is because when you realize what's important to you, it stops being casual, right? So for me, one thing that's very important to me is my mind. My mind is not a place I allow things to be played with. Don't play with my mind. And play with my mind can be as simple as don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Don't manipulate me. Do not misinform me, or do not manipulate me. Those things are things that I will not allow people to do to me, because my mind is very important to me. Something that's very important to me is loyalty. If you're loyal to me, that's very important to me. So another thing that's very important to me is if you are caring and loving is very important to me. And I want to just say that when you come up with that list, so at this point in time, I hope on your paper you've written already, or your notebook or your journal, whatever, you've written what is of importance to you, because that's very important. That's like part A of what your values are. When you identify what those are, you will be so free, because from there you'll realize that you are able to understand why certain things don't matter to you. Because when you realize what's important, you will be able to understand what is not important. So when you make that list, if you could, it's like part B of this segment, is when you make that list of what's important to you, prioritize them from, like, let's say, most important to least important. That will give you a lot of clarity when you come up with a place of what your values are. Another thing about values is when you're coming up with your values, or like understanding what your values are, is what are the things that when they're done to you, you feel icked, like you feel like, how could they do that to me? In those moments, sorry Davey, I've hit myself. In those moments, you will realize that the things that cause you to be offended, triggered, angry or disappointed in yourself or the other party, more than likely those things matter. Pay attention to those things when you're making that list of values. The other thing you need to realize is when you're making that list, sorry, let me just take you back a bit. When you're making that list, I want you to realize something. Values are not how people will respond to you. It's what is of importance to you first. Meaning, this is what you will exude, not what they will respond to. And that's such an important thing, because sometimes we think that, when you don't know I'm meant to be respected. No, but it means that even for you, you will respect them. So what you value, you give. So if you value love, being given affection, you can give affection. If you value people respecting your time, then you respect their time. And this is such a huge disclaimer for all those guys who say, me, I don't like when people disrespect my time, but when their opportunity comes for coming late or wasting people's time, they have no problem with it. Don't be the type of people who are comfortable just saying things, but mean it when you make it on that list. Another thing you need to realize is that when you're coming up with your core values as a human being, as a person, you need to be honest about a few things. One is, don't make a list of your values or core values only based from a place of anger. Understand that also your values are things that also bring you joy. You know, when for example, I know somebody who will tell you, I value money, and me, when you talk about money, I'm in that conversation. And so you'll see them when you're talking about money, you'll see them when you're talking about, when you'll see them giving money, you'll see them being quick to receive money, you'll see them being industrious in nature, because they value it. Don't be harsh on yourself when you don't understand what they are. I want you to know that, as I said earlier, this is not a video for after this 13 to 20 minutes, you will understand your value system. I think that's wrong, because this is a reflective opportunity where you can journal and just think, what is of importance to me? When it comes to friendship and all the other things, all your relationships with human beings and people, you must understand what those values mean for you. For example, in my case, I value time with loved ones. And so when you come into my space and you're in a hurry to leave all the time, I get so offended, because I also realize when I come into your space, I don't want to be rushed, and I will not rush you either. So that's very important for me. And that's why this conversation cannot be had away from boundaries, is because one of the boundaries I set is, if I have given you time, don't misuse it or don't dismiss it, because that's my boundary. And so when I realize that's a value for me, I can make a boundary. So be very clear about that. Another thing you need to understand is that values are, your core value is that you, for example, I'm a Christian, and as a believer, I have principles that guide me. I have convictions, and I have a belief system that I work under. But in the same breath, I also have personal values that I hold very dear to me. For example, as a believer, I believe that I should love people. I believe that I should love my neighbor as much as I love myself. But as a person, one of the values that I love about myself, if I could, is that I love the fact that when I see somebody in need, I don't struggle to think if they need help. More than often, I'll just run and help somebody. It has caused me trouble with some people, many people, but I'm not ashamed of it. So many a times you'll feel like there's a spillover from your faith into your value system. Don't feel like that's a problem. Just be very clear that you can write on your values that what can I tell you? I am respectful of older people, for example, as a value. In that, it will help you come up with the understanding that that is also from your faith and also as a person that's important for you. When you come up with your values, one of the things that this will do for you, and I pray that it does for you more than anybody else, is that when you come up with your values as a person, it will unlock your level of boldness, because at this point in time, you will be able to do something that I had to learn the hard way, which is saying no and meaning it. It's one thing to tell somebody, by the way, I'm not interested in this conversation, or I will not entertain it. But it's one thing to mean it and to assert it. Now, I want to be very careful with that word asserting, because I think when you realize your values, it's not an opportunity for you to wear a t-shirt imeandikwa, these are my values, don't approach me if you don't appreciate them. No. When you learn your values, you appreciate that people don't have the same value systems as you. And so what you have to learn to do is accommodate people. And maybe this speaks into this vibrant cancel culture, where people come out and just cancel somebody because they are not doing what you want to do. And it's unfortunate, because in life, one of the things that God has done in his own unique and magnificent way is made us so unique, meaning all our values are not the same. So accept that people don't have the same value systems as you, but don't compromise on your values because of that. So don't compromise. At any given moment, do not compromise your values. Do not compromise your values. And let me tell you something interesting. When you compromise your values, you have diminished yourself, because remember, we're making that list of what's important to you. So can you imagine that you realize that of importance to you is family, and somebody comes into your life and tells you, me, by the way, I don't spend time with family, and then you're like, okay, so we can forgo spending time with family. You'll always feel like there's a part of you that's missing, or something is slowing down, or you feel unhappy. Values guide you and become principles in life that you will live by. So do not compromise on your values. The other thing is, do not make your value system look like it's superior to other people's. And this one, I feel like we should shout a bit louder, because just because you value certain things doesn't mean you are more superior than other people. There are guys I know who, for example, I value sharing and giving. There are people who I know who they value making money and saving. People like those, more than likely, will always be in a fight with them. But I'm not superior because they have a different value system. Understand them. Appreciate them, love them, and when you can, more than likely, learn from them. Because one of the things, and I could be wrong about this because only God can tell me, is that one of the reasons he's made us all so different is because if I can learn from you, then you can also learn from me. So don't live in a world where my values are the principle of this palace, and if anybody doesn't bow to them, I'll kill them. No, that's unacceptable. Accept people's value systems as different. The other thing is, when you realize your values, you will not shortchange yourself. This one for me is so important, because more than likely you've been selling yourself short in certain situations because you think that because you have no understanding of your values, or you feel like your values are not as powerful or as necessary as others should be. I think I've shared this story so many times, but I can share it over and over again. I felt many times that my gifting had always been denied access on tables. I felt like I was always the girl in the room, but never the one at the table. I felt like all the time I'd be there discussing, this is what you should do, what you should do, what you should do, what you should do. But when the time came for seeing it through, I was never the one put in to do it. And more often than not, I'd find myself saying, okay, then let me just go and talk to Nani at the corner and see whether they can let me do, even for the least of them, even serve guys tea. Or let me, I don't know, it really hurts me, because I know that there are many like me in that situation. Because I know one thing is for sure, is that the moment you realize your values, you realize that you are valued, you realize that you are valuable, then you will not shortchange yourself. So you could be the person who's going to a weird space or meeting. You're doing everything. You're having the right conversation in the wrong room. You are selling your product in the wrong shelf. That could be because you don't understand your values. Understanding your values has a close relation to understanding your worth. And when you unlock what those are, let me tell you, there'll be such peace. If I could share, when I left formal employment, I was so certain that I was going to make it. Because one of the things I wasn't sure about was whether I was going to transition into being self-employed or whether I was going to go back into another place of work. And so as the typical Kenyan who thought that money in her pocket at the end of every month was empowering, I was applying for jobs left, right, and center. Yani, and let me tell you, like I was just saying, communication, I'm there. And it broke my heart because I got so many rejections. But let me tell you, what was even worse was the ones who didn't even send me rejections. It was like, the job is no longer being posted, somebody got it. And I think the one that now broke me completely was the time a friend of mine, who I didn't even know was applying for the job, got the job that I wanted. And I felt so sad. But in actual sense, looking back, I kind of have a sense of gratitude because I had to learn who I was, what my values are, and what is of importance to me. And this could be a highly unrewarding activity where I sit in front of a camera and I share some thoughts. I don't get paid. I don't earn from this discussion, but it affirms my value. And it's a hard conversation because your bills must be paid. But I want to encourage you today that if your values are being compromised because of the things that you think are important, more than likely you're selling yourself short. And I want to just encourage you to just do this very seriously, is find out what matters to you. In it, I kid you not, in one way or another, God will either start to talk to you about your purpose, or in one way or another, you start to feel like you're inclined to a certain direction. I think it's safe to say that the reward is for the one who tries. It's for the one who steps out and tries. And the reward is untold for the one who sits back and refuses to do it. So don't hold yourself back. But above all, don't step out until you understand your values. Understand what is of importance to you. Reason with yourself and be honest, very honest with yourself. And finally, realize that you are not superior because you've unlocked this level of knowing your values. And it sounds like a tacky thing, but I have it on. I'm going to start putting, in fact, after this video, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make my core values and stick it on my mirror so that every morning I can see and say, this is of value to me. This is of value to me. So that when I'm stepping out, I will allow people to see what's of value to me, and I'll be quick to always share what's of value to me. So, I don't know. Was this helpful to you? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm sure somebody around you needs to hear this. So please share. Subscribe to this platform. I think we are almost at 10,000 subscribers. I don't know, it feels nice to have 10,000 subscribers, and it means that my community is growing and that we are becoming more and more. And so great stuff is in store, and I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about your value systems. I'd be so happy to see, maybe it's like a challenge you should do, is that, journal, write down what your values are, and let's see what that looks like. So have a great week. Find happiness, understand who you are, and I promise you, it will not take you to heaven in a heartbeat, but it will give you a sense of joy. So trust it and make your values clear. Write them down, believe in them, and don't sell yourself short. Compromising is ungodly. So have a lovely week. Let's make it count. Until next time, because I'm so serious about this, maybe it'll be next week. Have a lovely time. Until then, I love you all. Bye.